Hello and welcome back to Making Bold Moves with me, your host, Liz Boswell. And we are working through the roadmap of 15 bold moves for leaders. Today's bold move is all about decision making. And I want to focus on something like the title of today's podcast is all about why pausing isn't procrastination. So I'm going to get straight to the point here. So if you're pausing before a decision, that doesn't mean that you're procrastinating, because at senior level, it's one of the clearest signs of judgment. It's one of the signs that you are thinking very carefully about a decision that you want to make. And yeah, this is where a lot of capable leaders that I come across get caught out, because under pressure, pausing starts to feel very risky, and it can look like hesitation or indecision or even weakness. So instead, people move faster than they need to. They feel like they need to make a decision really quickly, because otherwise people will think they're hesitating, and they're really cautious about how they look and how they come across. So there's a belief here that I want to challenge today and just try to get you thinking a bit differently. Strong leaders don't decide quickly, they decide deliberately. And speed and strength are not the same thing. So the more senior that you get, the more costly it is to confuse the two. What I see and what I come across quite often is that as responsibility increases, decisions carry more weight, they're more visible, they seem to be they're more consequential, really, aren't they? So, like decisions at those senior level, if things go wrong, obviously there's more risk there, isn't there? And I think I hear that leaders start to question themselves about their decisions. They start having those internal dialogue with themselves. I need to show confidence. I need to show that I can do this quickly. I can't keep sitting on this decision. I need to decide. And if I pause, people are going to lose faith in me. They'll think that I don't know what I'm doing. So to counteract that, they decide really quickly. And not necessarily because it's the best moment, it's the best time to decide, but because slowing down or pausing feels uncomfortable. In my experience, when you make that shift from being a manager to being a senior leader, it's quite different. When you're a manager, you're used to things happening quite quickly. You have to act, you have to get things done. That's what it's all about. But when you're a senior leader, there's more thinking, more strategic way of doing things. And that shift can take a bit of time to get used to. I was working recently with a senior leader. I'll just call him Mark. And Mark was under constant pressure. The business was growing really, really quickly. There was a lot going on. So there was a very, very fast pace. The expectations were high. Shareholders, were involved. Also, people in the business as well. All eyes were on him. And decisions were having to be made daily. And he said something very honest to me. He said, I'm making more decisions than ever, Liz, but I'm less confident in the decisions I'm making. So when he said that, I let him sit with it for a while. And then we unpacked it and just looked at some of the decisions that he had been making and why that was a belief for him, that he felt less confident in those decisions. And we found a pattern that under pressure, he was moving too quickly. So he was closing conversations early, answering people immediately, answering emails immediately with a decision. And he felt that being responsive like that was how you showed up as a leader. It was what you did as a leader. And so I asked him a very simple question just to get him thinking about this. I said, when you pause, what are you what are you worried about? What do you think people will think about you if you pause and take your time to make that decision? And he answered instantly, actually. He said, I don't know. I don't know. But that belief was driving his behavior. So here's what my reflection was to him that he hadn't seen. By moving quickly, he wasn't building confidence in people. He was doing the opposite, really, in a way. He was narrowing thinking. He wasn't allowing for other people to give insight. He wasn't allowing to just take time to think things through. So people stopped offering those alternative views, and risks actually surfaced later in time, and decisions had to go back and be revisited. So the consequence of him making decisions quickly was that sometimes it was the wrong decision. And I think that was why he wasn't trusting his decisions. So it wasn't that he wasn't capable of just making that decision, but the pressure that was compressing and compounding his judgment was making him question himself. So here's the thing then. So pausing does something really important. And this is what we unraveled and helped Mark to realize for himself. So pausing helps to widen the decision. It helps you to think about other options. So it's not just there's one way of solving this or one way forward. It could be that there's other ways of doing things as well. So pausing widens the decision and gives other options. So it signals for people that you're thinking about making the right choice or the right way forward. So it signals that you are thinking, not that you're avoiding. I think that's the difference between pausing and procrastinating, is that pausing is allowing you to think, and procrastinating is you're not thinking about it, you're avoiding it. So pausing gives other people permission to contribute, it gets them involved, it improves outcomes for the decisions that you made, and it protects your reputation as well. It helps people to see you in a good light, because people don't judge what you decide, they judge how you do it. They judge your behavior and the way that you make those decisions, not the outcome of it. So that's where reputation sits as a senior leadership, because at senior level, we're remembered less for individual decisions. We're remembered more for all of the decisions that we make and how they build up. So people look at, do you rush? Do you listen? Do you create space? Or do people feel shut down? So those are the patterns of behavior that travel and compound and maximize over time. Once those patterns are set, they're hard to undo. So with Mark, what we did was we said, right, okay, rather than just throwing things out of the window and changing things completely overnight, let's do this bit by bit and make one small change. So what he did was, before making final decisions, he started saying this to people: I'm going to take a bit of time to think about this. And having that in his pocket, and that phrase gave him permission to pause. So he wasn't saying it defensively or apologetically, like, I'm really sorry, I can't make this decision right now. It wasn't about that. It was a deliberate way of communicating with people to say, I'm going to take a bit of time to think about this, or let me have a think about that and I'll come back to you, instead of uh, being fast to make the decision or responding quickly. He was calmer. Um, and he followed up later with um, the reasoning behind it as well. And the impact of him making this change was immediate. He got more trust from people, he got better input. The decisions that were made held, and they didn't have to go back and change things later. And it was basically because he just slowed everything down, and stopped mistaking speed for strength. So let's bring this back to you then. If pausing feels uncomfortable for you before making decisions, that's normal, and pressure naturally creates urgency, and that urgency is what creates that noise, which can actually affect our judgment. So pausing isn't about delay or procrastination, it's about quality, and that's what matters. So let me give you 3 simple things then that you could try over the next week. Firstly, before responding next time you're asked to make a decision, um, pause for a breath. And this is about creating a habit for yourself. Is actually just pausing for a moment. Oh, let me think about that. And even a few seconds pause can change how your response lands with other people. So that's the first thing, is pause and take a breath. Secondly, say out loud, I want to think about this properly before I make a decision. So that protects your judgment really, and your reputation as well, and shows people that you are giving it careful consideration. And third, after you've made a decision, notice what the outcome is, measure some data for yourself, because that evidence will help you to see where small changes are impacting and making a difference. So are people responding in a different way when you do this? Are people supporting your decisions? Are you getting less challenge? Because that's how you measure it, through the feedback loop. So just to wrap this episode up then, remember, pausing isn't about procrastination. It's a leadership behavior. It's a very deliberate behavior, and something that needs to become a habit, because at senior level, it's often the difference between decisions that look strong and decisions that actually work and are followed through and you don't have to come back to later. If you want to explore this further, you'll find more thinking and more ways to help you to make bold moves on the Bold Moves website. But for now, just take this with you into the next week. Have a think about the decisions you're making, the pressure that you're under, and just remind yourself, you don't need to be fast. You need decisions that are going to stand up over time. So have a great week. Good luck with that. And that's all for me from now. Please feel free to email me if you've got any questions. You can go to the website, and I look forward to hearing from you. And if not, I shall see you in the next episode when we're going to dive a bit deeper into judgment. I'll see you then. Bye.